Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here. First off the bat, I want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody. Thank you, just in general, off the bat, for all the support this last year. I greatly appreciate it. Hope everybody's having a great holiday season. And this video is going to be my Warlock Christmas Blizzard, my Christmas wish list, please, Warlock Christmas, jokes aside, Warlock feedback video for patch 11.1. Now, there are a handful of things talked about in the last few feedback videos in this video that came out in a larger series. I want to condense this video, all those videos, down to one, a fast video, some rapid fire, fast pace, hit on everything class tree, AF, Demo, Destro. I might miss a couple things. If I do, I'll put a text post on the forums stuff at some point soon as well, after the first build's playable. But yeah, I want to hit on basically all of that today. Before we get into it really fast, I talked about it a second ago, but I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and say thank you, guys, for all the support this past year and the past years in general. Whether you watch on Twitch, YouTube, or on Twitter, TikTok, this and that, Patreon, whatever support you're doing, whether you're subbed or not subbed, just hanging out in general. There's never any kind of requirement to sub to anything at all. I greatly appreciate it, guys. Thank you for all the support. Just watching the videos, hanging out, and letting me do what I love to do, making the dream come true. I greatly appreciate it, guys. Thank you all so much. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Let's get it rolling. All right, now we're going to go rapid fire here, getting into the class tree first. These talent builds I think are fine. I don't know exactly, I just filled the points in, no big deal, but want to hit on every single spec and class tree in one video because it's a Christmas wish list. I want to have, all in one spot, right? But yeah, so class tree feedback wise, we talked about it for a long time, and I'm hoping more changes come later. We get into PTR for 11.1. There are a lot of 2-point nodes in the tree, and it feels like excessive nodes, in a sense, right? You're playing, 2 points in Demon Skin, 2 points in Fel Armor, 2 here, Technique, 2 Guile, 2 Synergy, 2 Soul Link. And the problem is, like, even if I want to go through Resilience, this is 2 talent points. This here, Barrier, also 2 talent points, right? And it puts you in a spot of, like, obviously you want to have Soul Burn, you want to have Conduit, probably need to buff it again to 10% for AF, whatever, but, either way, it is what it is. It was buffed and nerfed on beta a bit. It was nerfed again towards the end. It feels very irrelevant, honestly, as a capstone. I'd rather just have the man in a cage back at this point. It feels very, very subpar. But either way, probably could buff Soul Conduit a bit for each spec, depending on how it goes. So like 10% for AF, maybe 5 for Demo and Destro, because the Shard Gen being higher. But either way, I digress. The 2-point nodes are a bit excessive, right? You have to go through here to get to Gluttony, here to get to Soul Burn. I feel like you could just reduce a lot of these to 1. The effects are still, you can keep them the same, maybe cut them in half or cut them in, thirds, whatever, but I think you could definitely reduce some of these to 1 and make the tree more fluent. One of the problems with the class tree is that you can't really get the utility you want. I was pumped to see Artifice around, a faster Soul Stone cast time. That's great, but I rarely ever play it unless I'm in a raid setting, dropping like Beldom or something, because it's just so hard to get when you want your stamina increase. You need your damage increases, you need your defensives, you need gate, you need circle, you need XYZ. You got to spend 2 to get this, 2 to get this. It's just like you don't have much leeway to grab utility like Artifice, like Dark Fury, like Banish in certain spots. Fiendish is way undertuned. It needs to be literally, probably honestly 40% reduction, because Burning Rush hurts very bad at this point. So we can buff Fiendish, but also I can't even get it in the first place super easily because I want to have other options. Now, hopefully it comes in a later build. Maybe it's a bit more restructuring than we think it is and need more time, but I think the class tree just needs, there's a lot of fun utility in it. I wouldn't mind the different capstone. Talked about Kill Jaden's Cunning from movement, which obviously is a pipe dream, talk about it a lot, but some kind of movement. Mages have Icy Flows, Hunters have basically Hunter. Evokers have Hover, Shamans have something Guidance. There are other classes that have things too, right? Now I will say Demonology with Demonic Cores coming back in a large, amount. Destro with Shadowburn. They're actually semi-mobile again, so I'm not going to harp on that as much as the last feedback video, but I think the big thing to drive home with the class tree, 2-point nodes need to be either moved, reduced, condensed, removed, something along those lines to free up more utility and other options in the class tree. You can buff Soul Conduit to 10% for for Affliction, probably nowhere near as much charge as Demo or Destro, and it feels very subpar for AF. You barely even get any procs at all over the course of a fight. And then as far as like other things are concerned, like I said, utility is there, but just reduced nodes here. I'd love to see Teachings turn into some cool ability where it like gives you bigger demons, like a big Fel Imp, like a Void Lord, a big Shadhar kind of dog for Fel Hunter. that do more damage, have unique effects. That'd be really cool. I'd like that. Maybe wishful thinking, but that's basically it for the class tree. We talked about it for a long time. Just weave reduction in our 2-point talent nodes and pathing, because some things are a little awkward. So there's that. Getting into Affliction here. Affliction received very little changes, pretty much none at all, over the course, or I guess in the blue post they got for 11.1. They've made Soul Rot not be able to cleave Drain Life on multiple targets. It actually just heals you for half the damage done now, so it doesn't fork Drain Life anymore. Besides that, there's a lot of quality life stuff that I want to hit on for AF. Hopefully, maybe coming in a later build. We'll see, but going from there. So, obviously the first thing, talked about it a million times, but Vile Taint, there's got to be some way to make Vile Taint just maintain Agonies in plus. There has to be. It's capped at 8 targets for applications with Agony. It's similar like Shadow Crash. There's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. It just feels so clunky having to go in and put up. You go into Vile Taint, cast it on a pack, apply Agonies, do your damage, and then I have to go apply 6 Agonies, so they're going to fall. And right when I finish, they're all literally able to be applied again because Vile Taint came back off CD. There's got to be some way to do it. The quality of life when I play AF and plus on stream compared to Demo Destro is just insanely bad. I want to play AF and plus, and I go play it for 2 keys. I'm like, this is just not fun. Like, it's fun, but like it could be so much more exciting, right? So much more, just better quality life, more engaging, and the vast majority of that is just Vile Taint and Agony stuff. We talked about it before in the last video, but I think a great way to do it, if you're applying Vile Taint in settings, you're really never playing Infirmity. Infirmity says the stack count of Agony is increased by 4 when you apply it via Vile Taint. Doesn't matter. Just make this something along the lines of like whenever you cast Vile Taint, it applies Agony at double duration. Agony's based on duration, I think, is 18 seconds. It'd be 36 or 32 if it's 16. I think it's 18, right? If you pandemic it, it'd be even more. Just do something like that, where it gives you this like long Agony extension for the whole duration of Vile Taint. So you can do that. You can make Vile Taint CD shorter. It's got to be a lot shorter though, because Agony is only 18 seconds. But something along those lines to make Agony applications and refreshes just not as annoying as they are in Plus. I know it's a weird non-bow in a sense of volatile Agony, but at the same time, if you made Infirmity double the duration of Agony, it'd be, what, 36 seconds when it's applied? This is 30. It would still trigger volatile Agony. You could do that all the same. There's not even like a non-bow there. It would still work, right? But Infirmity in general, with the Vile Taint part of it, it's just not really very good, exciting. So that's number 1. Number 2, in no particular order here, Infirmity with Singularity is a non-bow. So Singularity's duration is reduced by the amount of haste you have. So if I have, I don't know, 24% haste, it'll be, it won't be 16 seconds, it'll be like 13.8. Something along those lines. If I go to 20% haste, it'll be like 14.2. Now, the thing is that Singularity would do all its damage in that same window, regardless of it being 10 seconds or 15 or 16, whatever it is. But Infirmity will only pulse for 10 seconds or 12 or whatever it is. Infirmity's duration is based off how long Singularity pulses for. So adding like a baseline duration to Infirmity, say, hey, whenever you pop Singularity, it applies Infirmity for a big 15 seconds. Be really nice. Or have it just make PS, like remove the hasted part of it. Either way, I don't know. It feels odd having it be hasted anyways, because of like, you know, Rapture. Like it lasts longer, I can Rapture more with it up, but I don't know. That's a weird non-bow as well when I hit on there for quality of life and all that. Moving back up here a little bit, Seed of Corruption. I think this might be a bit of a reach, but there are 2 things here. Number 1, increase Seed of Corruption's radius, the pop radius. When you had So, it was fine because you threw 3 seeds. The radius is so small. I'll throw this thing out, it'll hit like 3 mobs. It's like 4 that don't have seed on them or corruption on them. I don't know why. It's so small. Increase the radius like by 300%. Something like that, please. But the bigger thing, I think this could be a bit of a reach, but I think it works. I think we can remove the shard cost on Seed of Corruption. And I've been thinking about it for a while, and I could be wrong, but I think it's okay. You don't spam Seed in AoE anymore. I don't want to cast Seed in AoE, like barring to apply Corruption in a pack. And like when I cast Seed and it hits 4 mobs out of 7, which obviously the problem in itself, I have to recast again. It feels extra bad. It costs 2 shards and not 1. Shadow Crash costs resources, I think, but it doesn't cost something like a shard. right? You know, just I think we should have Seed have no shard cost. The shard cost was justified and needed when you were playing Seed for damage and Dragonflight was so and all that 100%. But it feels like when you're playing AF, going in from one pack to the next, if you have like 3 or 4 shards, you got to go in, you got to precast Seed, you're 1 less shard. Bile Taint, 1 less shard. You have to have like 4 shards min to go into a pack and like set up and get some Raptures out, which is, you know, part of like quality play, but for whatever reason, it doesn't always happen. And like what Seed does for the functionality that it has, I think you can get away with removing the shard cost. I do. It would make AF, once again, quality life-wise, feel a lot better. And plus, just be more fun, more exciting in general, and go from there. Now, as far as other effects here go, there's some little niche things here and there, but I think for the most part, we hit on, you know, Infirmity, Vile Taint, PS, all kind of stuff, Seed. I do think that UA needs substantial buffs. Unstable Affliction. Not really like a talent here necessarily. Obviously, there's Xavius and there's Malignancy, which works around UA in a sense. But UA itself needs substantial buffs. Agony does like 3 or 4% more in single target than what UA does. UA is our main limited to 1 target dot, right? It needs, I think, substantial buffs. AF's single target needs substantial buffs. It's been buffed recently. They buffed Haunt. They buffed something else as well. I think they buffed Xavius' Gambit a bit, which is still not worth taking because UA itself is just so subpar. Now, you could just say if you want to buff AF's damage and single target, well, buff Rapture. But you can't because you'll also buff the AoE, because Rapture is your main spender. I think the solution to buffing AF and getting its single target up more is buffing Unstable Affliction. Yes, like the baseline ability. Yes, it works more. It does work with our tier bonus 11.1, but you can buff and nerf the modifiers and the bonus accordingly. I think it's fine. I think it will work. I think it needs some substantial Unstable Affliction buffs baseline passively, and going from there. One thing I love to see as well, and this could be a bit excessive, I don't know. Soul Harvester with Shadow of Death feels incredible. Shadow of Death for Affliction is way stronger than it is for like Demo with like Shadow with 3 shard down on Tyrant. They both feel great at getting resources when you cast things. I would love to see Shadow of Death in the baseline tree over here. Now, obviously that means like, yeah, redesigning parts of Soul Harvester. I don't think you could just straight up pull Dark Harvest and put it here and put Death over here. Maybe you could, honestly. I would make this trade. Dark Harvest over here is a Soul Harvester ability. I mean, Harvest, you know, it makes sense. And Shadow of Death in the tree so you can get it for both Hellcaller and Soul Harvester. The shard generation and gameplay for Soul Harvester and Hellcaller feels vastly different. Harvester feels so much better going into a pack, throwing up a Soul Rot, getting shard gen, 3 shards coming in, a couple more yet laying around. It feels really strong, really solid, really good. But when it comes to like Hellcaller stuff, you really miss that shard gen from Soul Rot. You have Malevolence and things, other ways to gen shards, but it just feels you want that shard gen, right? So having that be a thing, it's a bit of a reach, but that's a wish list thing for sure. Christmas wish list, please. That'd be awesome. I wouldn't mind that. Maybe you can add a modifier to Dark Harvest to give you more crit and haste if you hit 1 target to make it stronger in this tree, like single target, you know, versus AoE. But honestly, shard gen, consistent, guaranteed shard gen, Shadow of Death would fit so well here. Dark Harvest, Soul Harvester, you're harvesting together. Put it there. I'd swap that any day. It even leads Soul Rot into Malign Omen into Shadow of Death. I think it works fine. Right? I think this arguably fits better here than this does, honestly. But we'll see. That's basically that. There's some other things with AF I think that have some issues too in the capstones here. Like obviously Oblivion, probably can make it 1 shard. Whenever you're channeling it, maybe have it extend all your active dots. Maybe have to do more damage. You can change Oblivion a lot of ways. It's been buffed, so has Xavius' Gambit. Neither are both worth playing. This could be Cascading Calamity. Just whenever you flip your UA in Pandemic, give you haste like you did in DFA. That was great. Awesome ability. Would love that. We'll see where it goes, but that is the gist of what I want to hit on for AF. All right, now getting into destruction here, I will say Destro and Demo aren't as like involved as AF is, like feedback wise. Every spec can get some changes. I enjoy playing Lock in general right now. I think it's fun. But yeah, I want to get, my hair's a mess. Get into Destro a little bit here and go from there. The first thing, as far as like hero talents are concerned, I'll hit on things I think they're relevant for Diabolus, Hellcaller, Soul Harvest, or whatever. Gloom of Nathriza. This is purely a Havoc Cleave talent. It is just dead in single target. It is basically like this tree has no talent here. if you're playing single target, or a non-Havoc Mayhem Cleave base setting. It's just an empty, it's like you path from here to here. There's no talent here at all in single target. It almost feels like we meant to change it to something else or add a single target clause to it during beta and just forgot about it. It is what it is, it happens, but I would like to see something added here that has single target relevancy. Even if you get even if it like means tuning the tree or nerfing an ability a bit to add relevancy here, it just feels like fundamentally it's missing something. And that feels bad to play a hero talent. Even if you end up like nerfing something by a few percent, adding its value here, it feels complete versus like having, I have a hole in my class tree or my hero talent tree in single target. It feels very odd. Yeah, that's basically that. There's obviously the Diabolic Ritual change that happened to Rain of Fire and stuff early on. I think it might have been a bit excessive. Wouldn't mind seeing that reverted a bit. The Rain of Fire single target thing was already fixed at that point. It's a bit odd there. I don't really know what to say about that. Diabolos just fell off in Plus, and it's been Hellcaller all the way now. Hellcaller is good as well. Feels fun to play and all that, but, you know, we'll see where that goes. Getting into the class tree here, these are PTR trees to clarify. Here is the new Demon Fire Infusion talent. They have increased the duration of Mayhem, Havoc from 12 to 15 passively, which is nice. That was needed. Good change. Mayhem's got a higher proc rate too. We hit on that in the video before this patch for feedback. Very good change. Love seeing that. I think it was needed. As far as getting further down in the class tree here, we have the new talent, Demon Fire Infusion. Periodic damage from Immolate has a 4% chance to fire a Demon Fire bolt at 100% increased effectiveness. So Immolate or Wither, you're playing Hellcaller. I would assume this works similar to our bonus in S3 and 4 of Dragonflight, where if you have multiples out, like by a Kata or multiple applications, it probably triggers more often. Pretty interesting. Hopefully it works that way. To a similar extent, Incinerate has a 25% chance to fire a Demon Fire bolt at 100%. I'm hoping this works with Fire and Brimstone. I assume it also does. If that's true, this is going to be a pretty strong ability, like a passive ability in M+. In these large pools, Kata's not capped, which I don't think it really should be. It can apply whether it relates to all targets hit, whether it's 1 or 1 million in the Kata. It applies to all. This is going to be a strong passive if it works with Kata and Fire and Brimstone. You're also not playing, you know, baseline CDF anymore. We're assuming the extensions still come with that, right? Adding a clause to RDF for the passive bolts of fire here. If not, that's needed for sure. 1,000,000% this will not be played anywhere in Plus. To a similar extent, maybe adding a clause to Mastery to, you know, add some more damage to this. It has a damage increase to CDF. I assume it works here too, but there's no cast time increase to this. It's like whatever, it's a passive. So maybe look at that, a bit more tweaking and tuning there, but hoping this works with, you know, multiple Immolates or Withers and with Fire and Brimstone. If it does, it's going to be really cool to play with, as long as you have extensions for Wither and all that. Should be a lot of fun. So we'll see where it goes, but, you know, when PTR hits, we'll find out, but I'm actually excited for that. Looks pretty cool. Oh, also, having it be purple, like Purple Shadow Flame, would be really cool too. Like we had in Avarice. Little flavor there. Moving on from there, so we have Crashing Chaos. The Crashing Chaos sims higher in single target. A lot of players are still playing Rain of Chaos, though. I've seen both in single target. I still play Rain. I just forget to change, honestly, from time to time, but most are still playing Rain over Crashing. If Shadowburn is going to remain in the form that it is, which it probably is, or it would have changed in the blue post a couple days ago, like being a spender in single target, what you want to do most of the time, we really need to add Shadowburn to Crashing Chaos. Because I think one of the main reasons people are playing Crashing Chaos, even just for feels, is that there's no Shadowburn clause there. If you've Infernal at the end of a fight with Crashing Chaos, and you're in like this range, Cruelty range, you're just spamming Shadowburn a bunch. It's hard to dump your Chaos bolts. You're all 8 through Crashing Chaos. And yes, still technically worth it from what I've heard, to dump 6 out of 8. Even if you miss out in the last 2, it's still worth it. But it just feels bad. It feels fundamentally like it's like a roadblock. Like there's a fundamental issue here. But adding Shadowburn as a shard spender and all that to Crashing Chaos would solve those issues and make it that much better. I mean, there's been plenty of abilities. Chaosbringer, after Madness was gone, they had Shadowburn, Rain of Fire, Chaos Bolt modifiers. The shard spending modifiers. We need to add Shadowburn to Crashing Chaos. I think that would make it a lot better. Feel much better to play. I think it would round out the Crashing Chaos window pretty well. Moving down more in the tree here, they have indeed removed Embers. Well, they bumped it down. It's here. They removed this node. I'm guessing they might remove this node here too, possibly, just for like congruency. Maybe they won't, we'll see. You could just remove this and make it passive, it's fine. You don't really need this here, it's a wasted, like a whatever point. Make this passive, it's a-okay. Embers is here now, so they've added Ripper to Dimensional Rift. So periodic damage from Immolate or, Wither has a chance to open a Dimensional Rift, which is very cool. Once again, this is basically our bonus from S3 and 4 of Dragonflight, albeit, doesn't give you a charge back, but it opens a rift or whatever, right? Which is very cool. Now, I do think there's a way, I think you can bump Embers back up here, which is fine. It's okay being a capstone, it's fine too. You can bump Embers back up here. I would love to see Flame Rift. I think Flame Rift would be really, really cool. You'd have to find pathing to make it work. I don't know. I mean, you probably have to put Flame Rift here and put, like unstable rifts right here, because you have to have like a node that paths from Rift into Flame Rift. Like having like Ruin, then Embers here, and then Rift here would be awkward, depending on the pacing of it. But either way, find some way to make Flame Rift come back. Flame Rift is super cool. It's like iconic in a sense. People love it from where it was when we had it. It's super cool. Seeing it spawn is super sick. And on top of that, make it so like every 3 or 4 rifts you spawn is a guaranteed Flame Rift. Every 4 rifts you get a big Flame Rift. It nukes the world. That's super cool, right? Thematically, it's consistent. There's not as much RNG to it. People love Flame Rift. I think bringing it back would go a long way flavor-wise, thematically. But I like the changes to Ripper, to passive, Demon Fire Infusion, or, well, yeah, I guess Demon Fire Infusion, and all that. I wouldn't mind seeing Rolling Havoc bumped up to 2% per stack. I think it'd be fine. But with longer Havoc, maybe it's okay just being where it's at. Everything else is probably fine-ish for the most part. A couple little things here and there, maybe quality life-wise we'd like. But overall, I think Destro feels pretty good. Wouldn't mind seeing Flashpoint bumped to 3% instead of 2 at, 1 talent point. I think it's more than fine. Flashpoint feels terrible. Besides that, though, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm also curious if they're going to get rid of Chaos Incarnate next patch. Because our mastery, our tier bonus is basically 100% Chaos Incarnate when it procs. Feels very redundant. So they might trim this, might just bump this down, passively make this a thing. I'm not really sure. I expect more for Destro, but that's for the most part the gist of what I want to hit on. Just some thematics, Shadowburn stuff, the Crashing Chaos, and just, And lastly, we have Demonology. Now, Demonology has some changes semi-recently that have made things a little more consistent and better. They've obviously added 2 cores back to Dreadstalkers, guaranteed, very cool. They've made it so we have a new talent here, Doom Eternal. When Doom expires, you have a 30% chance to generate a demonic core. Our tier bonus gives another dog as well, so as long as, even in general, like our core economy is in a much better spot than what it was at the start of the expansion by a long shot. They're going back and removing the core economy and adding more and more back in. Good to see. Demo's going to be pretty mobile again. Now, there is some, I guess you can say, general, like, I hate using the word clunkiness, but sort of with the spec still that I want to address briefly. Number one of the biggest Christmas wishes I have, please make Imp Gang Boss what it used to be. Whenever you implode Imp Gang Bosses, have them spawn Imps back again. I love that ability. It was so cool. Thematically, it was so much fun. Whenever you would implode an Imp, if it was an Imp Gang Boss, it would spawn another Imp. It was so cool. I love that ability. It was changed in Dragonflight. It just became some random buff that nobody cares about anymore. If it's good, you play. If not, whatever. But thematically, it was so cool. I'd trade that over. I want that over Purple Dog and Red Dog. I love that ability. It was so cool. Love to have it back. Maybe you make it so those imps that spawn from the initial implosion can't be Imp Gang bosses. I don't know if it was too OP, but something along those lines. It was so cool thematically. Would love it back. Be very cool. Moving on from there, other things here. I still think it's weird that Bombers, or I guess Shadow Invocation, doesn't really buff Demonic Strength at all. Strength is worth hitting in single target, not by a crazy amount from what I understand again. I know that it does still trigger Bombers even if you're playing Invocation, but it feels like a talent like this should buff, both things in the choice node above it. Just a little pet peeve of mine is what it is. Let's see, moving on from here, this row is mostly fine, I guess. We're not really playing this anymore. These talents, I just threw points in the calculator, so don't worry about that. Moving on from there, the next thing here is Ablation. Now, our core economy has changed. 2 guaranteed cores from dogs. You have Siphon, you have Doom Eternal, giving you a 1 in 3 chance of getting a core back when Doom ticks. I mentioned for a long time that I think this should give a core basically whenever you cast Grimoire, not when it ends. It likely is better to still do that, but I don't think it's anywhere near as needed anymore, because you're going to have cores from dogs expiring, you're going to have Siphon, you're going to have Dooms coming in, random imps dying. It's not really needed anymore. So at this point, I think the same issue is still there, though, even more so now, with dogs guaranteeing cores. When your dogs, your 2 dogs, or I guess 2 sets of dogs, because Tyrant ends, you have 4 dogs out, start expiring and imps start dying and all that, you have an overload of cores. You overcap on cores if you're playing Ablation. You're just going to lose this core most of the time. You're going to lose a core somewhere, typically, right? I think just removing the core clause on this and making it like, Grimoire does 20% more, or maybe lasts a few seconds longer. That'd be cool. That'd be fine. Something along those lines that makes it just a bit more, bit stronger than what it currently is. The core part of it's sort of irrelevant. Don't really need it anymore. I mean, we don't even play it in the first place, but if you want it playable, I think buffing the damage of Grimoire or something along those lines. Make him dual wield, do more damage. I don't know, something cool thematically. Probably needs a little bit of help there, but that is that. Blood Invocation hasn't really seen any play. Could be changed. Maybe I'm not even sure. Maybe stacking 1 imp gives 2 cores. Maybe too strong. I don't know, but sort of a weird empty node here. Not really sure what to do on that. Now, as far as things getting further down here, we've hit it on a million times. Imp Mother and Blaze. I'd love to see these swap spots. You can just get rid of Umbra Blaze. Maybe make Umbra Blaze have a cleave element to it. So if it lands on one target, it applies a dot to it, and it applies a dot to surrounding targets that it hit for like half relevancy, like Hand of Doom-esque. Once again, Blaze is a single target ability, which gates a universally applicable ability in Imp Mother. It's good in single target, good in AoE, good in cleave. It spawns more imps, right? But having it gated behind Umbra Blaze feels very awkward, because it's like you're paying a toll in Mythic Plus in most settings to get to what you want here. It's similar to how Affliction had Seize Vitality below Haunted Soul or above it in Dragonflight. It was a talent you didn't want to play, didn't do anything really to get a good one. It feels awkward. Putting Imp Mother here and putting Blaze here to fix that. To a similar extent, making Blaze like a cleave element to it, so it like lands on your target, applies a dot to that target, maybe applies lesser dots to surrounding targets, and plus would be great. Hand of Doom-esque, be very, very cool, but it feels awkward. It feels bad having to pay this toll to get to Imp Mother right here. Besides that, this has been, they buffed calling to, I think, 20% from 10. That's good to see. Next patch. Biofiend, or I guess red and purple dog, right? They've got the balance right, where purple dog is good in single target, and red dog is better in AoE. I think this is one of the biggest issues for Demonology. I think this def needs to change. It doesn't change. It doesn't increase our damage output at all. Biofiend's a half-minute cooldown. Tyrant's a minute. So what happens is that you get in this setting of, I'm ramping my Tyrant, being a minute, you're gonna cast him. Biofiend's half a minute. So between every Tyrant cast, you can go Biofiend with a half-minute cooldown. So it's basically Tyrant with Biofiend, Biofiend, Tyrant, Biofiend, Biofiend, Tyrant, Biofiend. The problem is that Biofiend's cooldown is so tight, being half a minute compared to Tyrant being a minute. If you miss casting Biofiend, whether you're moving, doing a mechanic, or whatever, for 5-6 seconds, you typically feel like you have to just hold it, because it'll desync your next Tyrant, which being a minute cooldown is much more important to like sync with damage amps on a fight, CD windows, all that. If I miss my Biofiend, I've said so often, I'm just holding it because I had to move for a mechanic, or do an egg on Brood Twister, or move out on Kaveza, or one out of a million things. I just hold it, and it feels bad. Making Biofiend a 25-second cooldown wouldn't really change anything damage-wise. We're not getting extra cast over the course of a fight. We're not doing anything crazy, but it would give you more leeway to say, okay, I can cast Biofiend now in between my Tyrant, but I have to move this mechanic. Let me do that. Now I can cast it, and it didn't mess up my Tyrant sync. I can still cast it because it's 25 seconds, not 30. Tyrant's a minute. I think making that change would be astronomically massive. It would make Demo feel so much better. Also, a reduced cast time on Biofiend would be nice too. Bit of a long cast time. When your ramp for Tyrant is build the 5 shards, Grimoire, Shadow Bolt, Biofiend, Shadow Bolt, Dreadstalkers, Demon Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, Hand of Gul'dan, Tyrant. It drags on, right? Making it a faster cast time also go a long way. Just making it just flow better. I like this version of Demonology, but I think it could be a little smoother. If that makes sense. But I think thematically it's pretty fun. Hatred needs substantial buffs. It's not good. Guillotine just needs some help there as well. Maybe some numbers over here too. Not even sure. They're not very good. And yeah. So I mean, like, biggest things I'd love to see once again. Shorter cooldown on this. I love old Imp Gang boss, but that could be super cool. I'm fine with Soul Harvester and Diabolus. Whatever's better, you'll play it. It's fine. Wouldn't mind once again seeing this swap for the shards on Tyrant and everything else, but who knows how you do that compared to Aff. But yeah, for the most part, I think Demos feels pretty fun to play. It's a little clunky at times, but those are pretty easy fixes. So thanks for watching, guys. I greatly appreciate all the support. Hopefully the video hit on some things you guys want to also see for changes heading into patch 11.1. PTR stuff, the new raid, Undermined, I think it's called that, at least the patch is, and honestly everything heading into the future. Once again, I think this first build is like a initial starter build. There'll likely be more changes coming in the next few weeks once the builds are out and stuff. Hopefully class tree changes, hope some quality of life stuff. We'll see where it goes. Destro seems to got the most attention. Gotten the most attention early on in the first build, but that might change depending on where things go with Aff and Demo, and who knows, tuning may change at all. We don't know what raid fights look like. Maybe the fights are built in a way where it favors Aff a bunch this tier. Fingers crossed, we'll see. So if you guys like any Week of Wars add-ons or profiles, links to Twitch, Discord, and the website all down below, as well as up here if you want them. And like always, a massive thank you and shout out to my patrons for all support on Patreon. Thank you all a million times. Like always, I greatly appreciate all support. Thank you. That's what I keep doing what I'm doing for y'all. I appreciate it. If you're looking at supporting, also up here, as well as, you know, down below. I mentioned it at the start of the video. Once again, guys, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I appreciate all y'all support so much for hanging out, watching the videos, all that stuff. Got some pretty big goals coming up this year for the stream, for YouTube, for Twitch, all that. I'm excited. You know, should be 2 raids coming year. Honestly, this time next year, which is crazy to think about, we're probably mid-beta, if not late beta, for Midnight. It's actually insane. So it's going to be a busy one, but I'm excited. So thanks for watching, guys. I will catch you all again soon on stream. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Peace.